Rory Calhoun's life began far from the bright lights of Hollywood, shaped instead by hardship and uncertainty during the Great Depression. Born in Los Angeles in 1922, he grew up in a world where survival often mattered more than dreams. As a young man, he made mistakes that later became part of his public story, but he never tried to hide them. Instead, he spoke openly about how those early struggles taught him discipline, humility, and determination. When he finally found his way toward acting, it felt less like a career choice and more like a second chance. He often credited his rough beginnings for giving him emotional depth and realism on screen. Audiences sensed that truth in his performances. His transformation from troubled youth to admired actor became one of Hollywood's great redemption stories, proving that people can rewrite their futures with courage, effort, and self-belief. 2. A chance encounter that changed everything. Calhoun's entry into Hollywood was guided by coincidence and opportunity rather than careful planning. After working various jobs to support himself, he was introduced to actor Alan Ladd and Ladd's wife, Sue Carroll, who worked as a talent agent. Sue recognized potential in the tall, quiet young man and encouraged him to pursue acting seriously. She helped him choose the name Rory Calhoun and arrange for acting lessons that refined his natural presence. What followed was a steady rise through supporting roles and studio contracts. His deep voice, calm demeanor, and athletic build made him a natural fit for westerns and adventure films. Unlike many performers who struggled to find their identity, Calhoun quickly settled into roles that reflected who he was: strong, reserved, and grounded. This early guidance gave him structure and opened the door to a lasting career in film and television. 3. Becoming a Western icon. By the 1950s, Rory Calhoun had become one of the familiar faces of Western cinema. He appeared in films that paired him with major stars and placed him at the heart of Hollywood's most popular genre. Audiences admired his quiet confidence and his ability to express strength without exaggeration. He did not rely on flashy dialogue or dramatic gestures. Instead, his performances felt natural and sincere. What made him especially convincing was his real-life connection to cowboy culture. He could ride, rope, and handle himself outdoors with ease, which translated into authenticity on screen. When he starred in the television series The Texan, viewers believed in him because he felt genuine. The show made him a household name and cemented his image as a dependable hero. His success came not from spectacle, but from trust. Audiences trusted who he was and what he represented. 4. A man of independence and character. Off-screen, Rory Calhoun was known for living life on his own terms. He valued loyalty, treated fans kindly, and maintained a sense of independence that set him apart from many Hollywood figures. While gossip magazines often focused on his personal life, colleagues remembered him as professional and reliable. He balanced toughness with warmth, creating an image of a man who could be both strong and thoughtful. This mix of qualities made him relatable and admired. He did not chase attention, yet attention followed him naturally. Friends described him as mischievous but sincere, someone who enjoyed humor and conversation without losing his sense of responsibility. His personality mirrored the characters he played, men of quiet strength who followed their own moral compass. In an industry known for pressure and image building, Calhoun's authenticity became part of his legend. 5. Love, family, and personal trials. Calhoun's personal life reflected both joy and challenge. His first marriage to actress and singer Lyta Barron brought him family life and 3 daughters whom he deeply loved. Together, they represented the glamorous side of Hollywood during its golden years. Yet fame also created strain. Long work schedules and public attention tested their relationship. Eventually, the marriage ended, marking a painful chapter in his life. Despite this, Calhoun remained devoted to his children and tried to grow from his experiences. Later, he found companionship with Sue Rhodes, a journalist who offered him a calmer and more grounded partnership. Their relationship evolved over time, and they eventually reunited after a period apart. This later chapter of love was quieter and more reflective, built on understanding rather than spotlight. Through these relationships, Calhoun showed that even public figures face private struggles and continue learning from them. 6. The quiet legend of Randolph Scott. For years, fans wondered about the relationship between Rory Calhoun and Randolph Scott, two towering figures of Western cinema. Both men represented dignity, courage, and restraint, yet Calhoun rarely spoke openly about Scott. In later life, he finally shared his thoughts with honesty and respect. He described Scott as someone who carried himself with natural grace and never needed to demand attention. His presence alone commanded respect. Calhoun admired how Scott remained calm and composed, both on and off camera. He believed Scott set an example for others by letting actions speak louder than words. Rather than seeking fame, Scott valued simplicity and privacy. This approach impressed Calhoun deeply and shaped his understanding of what true success meant. Their shared profession created both admiration and comparison, but never bitterness. Instead, Calhoun saw Scott as a standard to aspire toward. 7. Friendly rivalry and mutual respect. Calhoun admitted there was a sense of competition between them, as both were leading men in the same genre at the same time. He often joked that Scott could steal a scene with only a few words and a calm glance. Yet this rivalry was never hostile. It was rooted in respect and inspiration. Scott's ease in front of the camera challenged Calhoun to improve his own performances. Calhoun learned that strength could be quiet and that confidence did not need to be loud. Over time, admiration replaced any youthful envy. He came to see Scott not as a rival, but as a teacher. Their relationship reflected an era when actors competed with dignity rather than scandal. This unspoken bond showed that even in a competitive industry, professionalism and courtesy could shape lasting impressions. Calhoun believed that Scott's character off-screen mattered just as much as his work on it. 8. Lessons in fame and humility. One of the most meaningful memories Calhoun shared was advice he received from Scott about fame. Scott warned him not to chase it, explaining that fame runs faster than any person and can be difficult to control once caught. This lesson stayed with Calhoun throughout his life. He recognized moments when he had pursued recognition too eagerly and paid the price in personal stress. Scott's example of retiring quietly and living peacefully impressed him greatly. There were no scandals, no dramatic announcements, just a calm exit from the spotlight. Calhoun admired this grace and wished he had expressed his gratitude more openly when they were younger. Looking back, he believed Scott understood his influence without words. This reflection showed Calhoun's humility and maturity, revealing how deeply he valued character over popularity and respect over rivalry. 9. Later years and enduring legacy. As the Western genre faded, Calhoun adapted by taking roles in television and different types of films. He proved he could surprise audiences even later in life. Though his health eventually limited his work, he remained connected to fans and friends who admired his career and personality. He carried himself with dignity through illness, keeping his sense of humor and warmth. When he passed away in 1999, tributes poured in from colleagues who remembered him as kind, dependable, and sincere. His journey from hardship to respected actor inspired many. Few expected the young man with a troubled past to become a symbol of Hollywood's Western heroes. His longevity and resilience became part of his story. More than the roles he played, people remembered the man he became, steady, honest, and quietly strong until the end. 10. Two cowboys, one era of respect. Rory Calhoun's reflections on Randolph Scott revealed more than admiration. They showed gratitude and understanding. He believed Scott represented a time when strength meant restraint and dignity mattered more than noise. Their shared legacy shaped how audiences viewed Western heroes for generations. Calhoun saw himself as someone who followed in Scott's path, learning from his example even without close friendship. In his final thoughts, he describes Scott as a symbol of integrity in an industry often driven by image. Their story is not one of rivalry, but of mutual influence and silent respect. Together, they defined an era where men did not need to shout to be heard, and where character mattered as much as talent. Through Calhoun's words, the world gained insight into a bond built not on drama, but on shared values, leaving behind a powerful lesson about humility, legacy, and honor.